Hi people, welcome to another video here. As promised, now I'm just going to pour myself a cup of Earl Grey. Always. Open on a unique toilet. Lovely. Now I've got my hat on peeps because I'm growing my hair. I'm going to try and grow it long, but it's bushing out. So I'm trying to flatten it down. Yeah, just in case you're wondering why I've got an hat on. So, as promised, this video is going to be the Bullworker. Yeah, sorry about camera, I'm moving all over the place. It's just going to be the Bullworker, yeah. Over the years, how it evolved from Bullworker 1 to 2 to X5 to the modern steel bow, yeah. And I'm going to try and tell everybody how it evolved just through their manuals, right, which is quite difficult. So, I've got the Bullworker 2 manual, which is late 70s, yeah. I haven't got the Bullworker 1 now, but I do know, because I've been doing a little bit of research, that the Bullworker 1 manual wasn't a manual, it was a wall chart, yeah. So, when the brown handle one came out in early 70s, late 60s, I might be wrong with times and dates, but it was around about that time. It had brown handles, yeah, had some little instructions on handles, and it came with a wall chart. Good news is I've had a good look at wall charts, yeah, and all the exercises on that wall chart are all in this book, right? So nothing changed, right? So that's interesting. So basically, let's give you a little bit of information about the Bullworker through the manuals, yeah. If you are interested in bodybuilding, you may have used a chest expander, so you can tell it's early 70s, at one time or another. Whilst you can use the Bullworker 2 as an expander, you can also contract it. It is this contraction which makes the Bullworker such a magnificent bodybuilder, and is the reason why Bullworker 2 outdates all previous methods of bodybuilding. Now what you've got to remember is, this is before the craze, believe it or not, the massive craze of weightlifting and gyms. It's before them. I mean, weightlifting has always existed since, like, well, barbells haven't actually. Barbells have existed since they started making them for themselves in 30s and 40s. Yeah, but they really came into their own after that in 50s, barbells and stuff like that, yeah. If you looked at bodybuilders before barbells, 1900s, 1800s earlier, they didn't have no chest. So you've got to remember that these are before the craze of barbells in your house, because people just couldn't afford to get barbells and weights delivered in the late 60s. It cost a fortune. So this is why the manuals and the small pieces of kit, chest expanders, were all the rage, yeah. So anyway, so Bullworker 2 outdates all previous methods of bodybuilding. The inventor of the Bullworker 2, a gentleman called Gert F. Kolbel, yeah, studied the workings of the human body for over 10 years. He then produced a prototype bodybuilder Bullworker 1, of which the present apparatus is a development. Most of the exercises in the brochure were developed personally by Herr Kolbel. So, all the exercises in this book were developed by Herr Kolbel. Now, the good thing about this book, the funny thing about this, yeah, is this picture of this young Herr Kolbel there is supposed to be the bloke throughout the book, yeah. Now, I'd love to know if it really is, but it's open to debate for me, because if you look at the pictures of Herr Kolbel, it's just the same face all the way through. Exactly the same face all the way through. So I don't know if it's him. I don't know, you know. Right, I've realised what it is. I looked through that book. You tell me that that face is not photoshopped, right? But then, you look at the black and whites. It looks like two different people. I mean, this is not to do with the book, it's just interesting. I mean, that's him there. But then, it looks like somebody else there. What is going on? Is it a Photoshop? Or is it just what it looks like in different positions? But I can tell you that the colour version, thinking about it, If it's not I put it camera there. If it's not Photoshop, they have been coloured over in colour after, so it makes it look really weird. So do you know what? That probably is in, but I don't know. Anyway, so I digress. This brochure is full of pictures of Kurt. What's his name? Gert F. Colbell. So he's the inventor of the Bullworker, and all these exercises in this manual he wrote. Yeah, so that's really, really interesting. Now, what else is interesting about this manual is you won't see an isotonic or a movement exercise whatsoever in here. They're all isometric, and I've mentioned this before. The Bullworker was invented as an isometric machine only, yeah. So you'll only see isometric exercises. Another good thing about this, right, is there's a patent in here, and it says how isometric contraction works in practice. So it definitely is an isometric machine. And there's also a British patent, which is 968-180. There's a Canadian patent, an Australian patent, and a US patent. But the Australian patent and the US patent is pending, right? So that means it ain't out yet. So it was developed, and the patent was brought out in Canada and Britain. So was it made in England? That tells me that this machine was made in Britain, because the patent is Canadian when we owned them, and British. So let's have a look. Well, in fact, we'd have to have a look at Bullworker, yeah. And I can actually tell you it was made in England because I've seen it. So, the Bullworker. Let's have a look. The Bullworker, it probably tells you here. The Bullworker is made of wear-resistant individual parts. These are carefully fitted and assembled in the manufacturing department of the Kurt F. Colbell Company. The equipment is fully chromium plated, high-grade steel, pearl-on thermoplastic, synthetic and linen are the only materials employed. The built-in compressive steel spring is permanently set and never slackens. Carefully installation ensures the greatest possible sound damping. The Perian traction ropes carries a steel core which is sealed at 12 tons pressure. It is therefore impossible to break the rope. The locking point is situated inside the handle, which can be pulled out sideways for checking purposes. Let's have a look at that. So it can be pulled out sideways, I didn't know that. For checking purposes. Right. When the equipment is pressed lightly together. The weight of the Bullworker is about 6.5 pounds. In spite of this, it offers continuous resistance of 6 to 750 pounds. Interesting, I didn't know that either. Measured in muscular system. So here you have a powerful piece of equipment which is easily portable. The Bullworker is, of course, accident proof. Because a handle released by accident is automatically stopped again at the end of its course. Each piece of the equipment is tested by 2 technical members of staff before it leaves the company. You can see the price of the equipment from the enclosed order form. The illustrations shown the design finally perfected in November 1964. So the Bullworker, people, was released on the shelves or finally finished in 1964. We doubt very much whether this can ever be surpassed technically. Well, it was, because technically they surpassed it with this thing. Yeah, so what technically changed? Well, it was just more appealing to younger people, females, people with no strength whatsoever in certain positions. Yeah, like I've not got no strength behind the shoulders. Yeah, it was surpassed by this because you can change springs and put soft springs in. So that statement is wrong. But yeah, we had to fast forward 60 years to find that out. Right, so it can be surpassed. Right then, so there's some quite interesting information there. Your body possesses about 500 muscles. Using isometric contraction, you can build up and strengthen more 300 of your 500 basic muscles. The power of these new exercises is quite fantastic. This was shown in the most dramatic possible way by Bob Hoffman, the famous American athletic coach. Louis Reich was one of the weightlifters used in Hoffman's experiment. Prior to using isometrics, he was a middle-of-the-road lifter, usually making the national championships. That's hardly middle of the road. But never winning the title. He went into secret training specialising in isometric movements for a period prior to the US Senior Championships and came out to win the light heavy title, setting a new world record snatch into the bargain. This is even more noteworthy when one considers that Reich was nearly 40 years of age at the time. You can imagine the success that isometric exercises have in America. Remarkable scientific reports such as Hettinger's Psychology of Strength and several articles in Reader's Digest have played a leading part in the interest. Basic research was carried out in the field by Professor Dr. E.A. Muller and Professor Dr. Steinhaus at the Max Planck Institute in Germany. Today, famous Olympic athletes, not only in Germany but also in Russia and America, train using the principles of isometric contraction. The kind of results which used to be considered impossible are now achieved as a matter of course. Right, a lot of people, when Bullworker came out, they thought that isometrics were a waste of time, yeah? And to be honest with you, you talk to a lot of bodybuilders nowadays and they still think isometric is a complete waste of time. Go look at an Olympic gymnast, yeah? And you tell me that isometrics are a waste of time. Go compare that Olympic gymnast's arms with yours, yeah? I don't care what you're on, I don't care how you're training, yeah? Compare your arms to that Olympic gymnast and it'll blow you away, yeah? And that's isometrics. And when this first came out, nobody knew what isometrics were, yeah? Because there were no internet, there were no emails, computers, stuff like that. Yeah, you only found out from these kind of things, yeah? So everybody looked at the Bullworker back in the 60s, 70s and threw these away, yeah? And I did. I threw mine away, and one, I couldn't do it because I was only 15, and two, I thought it was rubbish. Same with chest expander. I had a chest expander. I couldn't pull it like more than that, and I threw it away and I went to the gym. Yeah, big mistake. Yeah, absolute big mistake because it's a really good piece of kit. Right, so what else interesting? So it says here, the Bullworker 2 system of exercising. This brochure shows the main exercises with the Bullworker 2 divided into individual muscular groups. Each exercise, either traction, pressure or expansion, need to be carried out once daily only. Only in certain cases need you repeat the exercise. The principle of the Bullworker exercise is based upon the research conducted by Max Planck Institute. The principle is simple. The results outstanding. You can expect an average weekly strength increase of 4% as a result of one daily exercise lasting 6 to 7 seconds at about 60% of maximum strength. So now we get to this, which always interested me. Look at that. That's David Prowse. That's Darth Vader. Yeah, that's before he became Darth Vader, when he was a bodybuilder. See that physique? He got that physique at home. Yeah. For some reason, David Prowse did not join a gym. He trained at home, and he got like that at home. Yeah. Now, whether you compare him to anybody else, that is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, that he got like that at home. Yeah, I think it's ace. Right, but listen to this. David Prowse is probably Britain's outstanding expert on physical fitness. He was British heavyweight weightlifting champion in 1962, 63 and 64. A Mr. Universe finalist and is acknowledged authority on all aspects of physical training, weight training and both isometric and isotonic training. He went on to train Superman, Christopher Reeves for the Superman film, turning him into a 9-stone weakling to an 11-stone Superman for film. Yeah, David Prowse did that. Right, anyway, let's carry on. When you buy Bullworker, you will be given a free personal assessment by David Prowse. You will be advised on your prospect and on how much you can expect Bullworker to achieve for you. Factors such as body shape, which they still talk about nowadays, don't they? Diet, personal habits, aptitude and preference will all be included in this assessment. Whenever you have any queries, this is great this, whenever you have any queries about your training, you can write to David Prowse. Write. You can't email him, because it didn't exist. You can't send him an email or type it up on a computer, it didn't exist. You have to write to him and put a stamp on it. So, but furthermore, listen to this. You have to write to David Prowse. Let's have a look. And he will personally answer you. So he'll send you a letter. He will answer your letter. Whatever you are particularly interested in, this was before he became famous as Darth Vader though, and then he said, I'm not doing that. I don't know, did he? Anyway, so will enable you to achieve as fast and as effortlessly as possible. This service is available only to British Bullworker clients. Even the German head office of the Bullworker organisation has nothing better than this. Even in Germany, the head office of Bullworker could not allow you to write to David Prowse. Couldn't do it. Wow. So, this advice makes the Bullworker 2 service so comprehensive and personal that we very much doubt whether anything in the world today can match it. Nothing. Well, it might do now if, you bought some weights and you could write to Arnold Schwarzenegger and he could write back. Might top it a bit. Might do. But for me, it won't. No, for me, if I could write to David Prowse and get a letter back from David Prowse. Yeah. God rest his soul, yeah. I met him. I met David Prowse. I've mentioned it in my videos before. He was Green Cross Code man. And I was, 6? And he came to primary school and he showed me how to cross the road, yeah. And there's a famous picture. Famous in our circles, yeah, and I'm not on it. I don't know where I was. I'm not there, but I was there. So I probably had scruffy clothes in school and the teacher said, you're not getting on here. But my mate is. One of my mates is on it. And I hate him for it. Right, anyway. So, I don't hate him really, but yeah, I'm a bit jealous. Anyway, you are offered, and I don't get jealous, but I am jealous that he's on David Prowse's picture. Very. Anyway, so you are offered that service by David Prowse. He will supervise your training from start to finish, yeah, only if you write to him. So then we go to these exercises. Who's he? Now, is he supposed to be this guy? Because he changes from that to that. He changes from that to him anyways. He's supposed to be the inventor of the machine. But that looks highly photoshopped to me. It just looks weird, it always has done. And then this fella, this old fella here, he's an old fella. Dr. Howells. So this picture here, he's supposed to be a famous English doctor called Dr. Howells, who's famous on fitness. But anyway, apart from that, right, I can't really say much more about the Bullworker 2 and 1. They were very similar machines, yeah, very similar. But one thing I will say is 1964 onwards, yeah, this was an isometric machine. So fast forward to 1980s, training became more popular, yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger had won Mr. Olympia, Pumping Iron had come out, it were all over telly, yeah. People were doing aerobic machines. They were into yoga, they were into aerobics, they were into all that dancing about on screen, you know, in leotards and belts, yeah. So these tried to catch up and they became an isometric, isotonic machine with a bit of movement. Yeah. Yeah. So how did they do it? Because all this were popular, wasn't it? Yeah. So they felt like they had to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And that's the only reason it came in. But let's see why they said it come in. Right, so I found out why they decided to put isotonics in it. Right, so listen to this, of this book, yeah. One of the most important benefits of raising your levels of fitness is the more efficient use of your heart and lungs. Statistics show that the heart of people who are out of shape beat faster than those of people who keep fit. 20 more beats per minute to sustain easy activities like lying down and standing up. 70 more beats per minute to climb stairs. Your heart responds to exercise like any other muscle. The aim of the training described below is to increase your pulse rate to a level of about 120 beats per minute and then let it drop back down around normal 3 times. During each daily workout, after a couple of weeks, you will find that it takes more effort for you to get your pulse rate up to the desired level. This is good news and demonstrates that your levels of endurance stamina are on the rise. Perform one circulation exercise as a warm-up exercise before you start your daily workout. Perform the exercise twice more at the end of the workout. Use any of the exercises illustrated in the following pages. When you get into isotonic training, see page 57, you will probably find that after performing a few isotonic exercises in a row, your pulse rate is at the desired level. When this happens, drop the circulation exercise at the end of the workout. 3 up to 120 beats, then back down to normal cycle per workout, providing maximum benefit from this type of training. Right, so they invented the pump, squeezy to get your heart rate up and your pulse rate up, yeah. Interesting. And that's why they say they invented it. So far, anyway, I haven't found anything else. Yeah, but in this book, right, they've got this guy again. Yeah, he still looks like it, to be fair, but he looks older, doesn't he? But there's still something not right about that face. He looks like they've aged him, thing. But anyway, then we've got like mullets. Yeah, because it's 80s, so you had to have a mullet. Yeah, diet and fitness tells you all about that. Yeah. So yeah, we've pretty much got similar exercises. They've added a couple in now. They've added that exercise. They found a new one. They've invented a new one. They've invented another one there. So they've thought about it a bit more where you pull it up. This is another new exercise. Yeah. So they've thought about it and they've put a few more exercises into it. Quite a lot. They're the same. That's same. That's another new one. They've done a variation of that original one what it did. So yeah, there's a few new exercises in there. And then now they've done it into a progressive chart as well, so you've got like week 1, week 2, week 3. So they're getting a bit more technical with it. Yeah. Now they've done that, but instead of kneeling on your knees, they sit you in a chair. They've added that one, that's a new exercise. Not many in first book, but then you get second book. There's quite a few new exercises there, yeah. But what you will notice is, the first half of the book is all isometric, and then we jump to isotonic. So in this, the split isometric days and isotonic days as well. So that's where we've moved forward in 80s, yeah. And it's going international now in Bullworker. Look at that flags on there, that's where you can get it. Compared to, let's have a look. Actually, no, still quite impressive. You could get it there as well. So they actually hit the ground running in Bullworker, didn't they? They launched it in a lot of places straight away. One thing I've noticed, right, before I start talking about this, in this book, it says since the launch of the Bullworker in 1964. In this book, it says since the launch of the Bullworker in 1963. And in this book, it says since 1962. So over the period of a few decades, they forget what year they launched the Bullworker, yeah? So information has been lost. It's only slight, but it's information that's been lost. If you ask somebody now, when Bullworker came out, they'll say 1962. It didn't. It came out in 1964, as per this catalogue says. But then this gets it wrong, says 1963, and this says 1962. Yeah. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us that if stuff ain't wrote down, yeah, information can be lost. This is why I don't like computers. If somebody decides to change their mind and change history, yeah, and it's not wrote down somewhere for somebody to see in black and white, wrote down at the time, a lot of information can be changed, lost, tampered with, spoiled, and it's quite dangerous, yeah. Think about that one. But it's not to do with training, it's to do with other things, history and stuff that's really important. Right, so, what can I say about this book? What can I say about this book? Well, pictures are better, yeah. The body sculptures are better, yeah. They've got better athletes, you know, showing the product, yeah. But all this leg crap, none of it's any better. None of it's any better. It might be me. I like one or two leg exercises. Don't get me wrong. I think they're quite good, especially for your hips. But it's clutching at straws, isn't it? It's trying to find that right. There's a big market now where you just trot off to the gym and you can train absolutely everything in that gym. Yeah, there's machines, bands, floor mat, weights, everything's there. You can train everything. So they've revamped themselves at Bullworker yet again, and it's like you can train absolutely everything. Yeah, and it's so weird. That's what they're getting at. So you see marketing in progress, don't you? You can train back, little muscles, shoulder muscles, all these different things that they've come out with. Now, if you sat and did half of these, you know, movements that they've invented, just to say you can train absolutely everything, I'd say 3/4 of them are pointless, yeah. But then you go back to the basic book, right? I'll tell you that will be the one. You'll go through all these, you'll go through that, and you go through that, yeah. But when you come back to basics, that'll be the one that builds your muscles, yeah. Basics, right? And I'll tell you for why I know that. I trained for years with weights, yeah. I've had a pretty decent physique all my life, yeah. I've been bigger than this, been in better shape, I've had a bigger chest. Everything, you name the weightlifting routine that you can do, I tried them, yeah. Split routines, pyramids, you know, heavy training, negative training, did it all, right? But the one training sessions that got me big, ripped and an ace in my late 40s were the Steve Reeves full body workout, which were basic, yeah. Went back to basics after years of training and got a physique, right? So this is why I know that all this here, yeah, where they had things on, pot laugh, is all a waste of time, yeah. They've done it there, they've added a few things on, yeah. But when you look at it and you think about it with your eyes, your brains, whatever you used to think, yeah, it's all a marketing ploy, isn't it? They brought that out with the best intentions, yeah. New system, and you had a simple training regime, yeah. Then they wanted to keep up with pop culture, so they said it was isotonic and you could move about and jog up and down on the spot while you were doing it, probably, yeah, to some Jane Fonda music, yeah. And then they wanted to keep up with the current trend of you can train absolutely everything in gym, and they've created all this, yeah. It's all selling, yeah. So half of this, I'll tell you now, half of this in this book will be crap, right? And there'll be a lot of it that's good, but you have to like sift through it and do the routines, yeah. There's not really a lot to say about this, really, is there? It's just the way it's improved. They've gone onto all this isoflow now and everything, yeah. It's a big market, but to be honest, these machines are far superior to the originals. And I don't mind saying it, they're far superior. You can change springs, yeah, they're just beautiful, beautiful machines. And I can't wait till I can afford the biggest one. Since 1962, 1964, starting to proper use, springs and clips. Right, so that's my quick review on the Bullworker over the history, just using manuals, yeah. I'm sorry there's not a lot I can say about that. There's not a lot of information in there, just go straight to exercises. But you do get a lot of relevant information in these, which gives you a bit of history about the Bullworker and the techniques. Right, I never drank my tea once during all that, so listen to this. You've got to have a slurp of tea, haven't you? Earl Grey, highly recommended, no milk. Right, just a little bit more information that I've just found in this book, so I'll include it in video, yeah. Springs, blue spring, level 1, approximately 0 to 25 pounds. Yellow spring, level 2, approximately 0 to 50 pounds. Grey spring, level 3, approximately 0 to 75 pounds. Black spring, level 4, approximately 0 to 100 pounds. Red spring, level 5, 0 to 150 pounds approximately. Very interesting, yeah. The red spring is very hard to push. So yeah, it just pays to read your books a bit more, doesn't it? Because I missed that last time. So they started off with isometrics, didn't they? Which basically static holds for 7 to 10 seconds using 60 to 80% of maximum effort. Then they went on to produce isotonic exercise involving eccentric and concentric contractions. Then they went on to isomotion, which is to maintain your isometric hold while moving through your body's natural full range of motion. So then there was endurance, slow and deliberate compression and release with high repetition. Resiliency, cardio and muscle recovery, rapid compression and release with high repetition. Maintenance, preserve current levels of fitness. One set of isometric and isotonic combination for each muscle, 1 time per week. Foundational strength, 1 set. Target duration, 15 to 30 minutes. Muscle enhancement, 2 sets. Peak performance, key to weight loss is reducing. Right, so basically with this book, they've gone even further with what you can do for this machine. They've added isometrics, isotonics, isomotion, endurance, resiliency, and maintenance and foundational strength. So they've progressed it through the ranks. But like I said earlier, they're trying to stay in line with the current trends of weightlifting and trying to stay relevant.